The NFC West has long been one of the most competitive divisions in the NFL, but somehow I think it's going to be completely underrated heading into the 2024 NFL season. We have a Super Bowl runner-up that's still trying to recover from that heartbreaking loss in overtime, and a talented pack of veteran stars and plucky underdogs trying to chase them down. Throughout this division too, there are a lot of new coaches in the mix and some very talented draft picks to keep an eye on. So in today's video, we're going to go team by team and figure out how this division might shake out, and I'm going to give my prediction of who's going to win the division, as well as each team's record, as well as give my reasoning for why the NFC West is the most underrated division in the NFL. Now, I think this is honestly going to shock a lot of people that I'm about to make this prediction, but I'm going to give the Rams the edge in the NFC West this year. It's crazy that the Rams are this high considering where they were this time last year. Los Angeles entered the 2023 season as one of the weakest rosters in the NFL, with many expecting them to have a better shot at the #1 overall pick rather than the playoffs. Instead, they produced one of the most exciting offenses in the NFL and overperformed on defense. This was mainly thanks to the emergence of some supremely talented draft picks led by Puka Nacua on offense and Kobe Turner on defense. Nacua erupted onto the scene with 10 catches for 119 yards in his first game, setting up a remarkable rookie campaign in which he tallied 1,486 yards and 6 touchdowns in the regular season.
Stafford with backside pressure has to get rid of it, into traffic, and Nacua!
Wow. 3rd down and 4. Stafford throws, there he is! Nacua to the end zone!
On the other side of the ball, Turner proved a very useful option on the interior of that defensive line next to Aaron Donald, notching 9 sacks.
Kobe's in his face. Turner's got him! It's music to our ears at the end of week 13.
Both players came second in voting for their corresponding rookie awards, with Steve Avila and Byron Young also turning out impressive rookie campaigns. I mean, overall, it was a very good 2023 draft haul from Les Snead and his team, which combined with some good picks from previous years to get this team into the unlikely position to compete in 2023. Now with Cooper Kupp fully healthy and ready to join Nacua for the entire season, the Rams are ready to take the league by storm, I do think. Honestly, I'm going to give this team a ceiling of like 12-5, mainly because I think that they will have one of the best offenses in the NFL just by the way of Matthew Stafford, Kyren Williams, and the 2 wide receivers mentioned earlier. And I think that the defensive additions in this year's draft and free agency should help improve what was a weaker unit last year. Like, I mean, for Mahomes and all these other guys that get a lot of recognition at the top of the NFL, Matthew Stafford can still sling the rock, and honestly, I think he is still possibly like a fringe top 10 quarterback in the league. And like, I mean, honestly, I'm sure Rams fans, if you're out there, you are just drooling at seeing Matthew Stafford finally get to throw the ball to not only Cooper Kupp this year, but also Puka Nacua, and just having both of those guys as solid options for Matthew Stafford is exactly what he's needed and been wanting for his career. And then not to mention when you have Demarcus Robinson and Tutu Atwell also behind those guys, I mean, they have a slew of weapons that Matthew Stafford can use at his disposal whenever he wants to. And look, I mean, if the passing game falters in any game, then don't worry, because Kyren Williams proved himself as a tough and versatile back in both the run and pass game last year.
1st and goal from the 6. Stafford, Williams, blockers in front, the cutback, and the touchdown. Bigby in motion on 3rd and 1. Williams towards the goal line, pushing through for the touchdown.
And the draft selection of Blake Corum gives the team a talented and very similar backup. Jonah Jackson bolsters the offensive line after joining from Detroit, which allows the team to shuffle over Steve Avila to center and solidify a very large interior for the running backs to work behind. And honestly, I think the floor scenario for the Rams does kind of come down to really how well their defense ends up playing. Like, I mean, as we all know, the main departure that everybody's going to know and kind of take notice is the fact that Aaron Donald is no longer in the middle to clog things up. And like, I mean, losing a key defensive player is never good, but when it's arguably one of the greatest, if not the greatest defensive tackle of all time to play that position, it's going to be even more noticeable. Donald's production isn't the only thing that will be missed though, with the double and triple teams he demanded also going with him. That creates a whole new test for this young defense, who have benefited from less attention when Donald was on the field. Kobe Turner got off to a great start last year, and he will be joined on the D-line by 2 high draft picks in 2024, Jared Verse and Braden Fisk. There is talent there for sure, and the upside is higher given Fisk and Verse dominated together at college, but you never know with rookies, and the range of outcomes is fairly high. In the secondary, Darius Williams, Cameron Curl, and the often injured Tre'Davious White have been brought in to improve what was a weak unit last year. And don't get me wrong, these are definitely upgrades, but the secondary for this team is an area that has seen big fluctuations in performances from year to year. There is certainly a very attractive ceiling where the rookies on the D-line play well and the additions to the secondary make life tricky for opposing passing games, but the floor could lead to a porous defense. Nevertheless, the offense is just so talented and defensive players should improve as the season progresses, leading me to give this potential floor of 10 wins to 7 losses for the Los Angeles Rams. Now, second place for me in the NFC West will be the San Francisco 49ers. Yes, I know they have a seriously talented roster, but the Super Bowl hangover has hit this team before, and the offseason hasn't exactly been smooth.
Breaking news here on NFL Live, wide receiver Brandon Ayuk has requested a trade. Ayuk skipping the 49ers offseason program.
In Brock Purdy's first full season in charge, the 49ers posted a 12-5 regular season record before narrowly losing in overtime to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. And as we all know, back in 2019, they also went to the Super Bowl off the back of a 13-3 regular season record, but they followed up that defeat in the Super Bowl in 2019 with a disappointing 6-10 record. I mean, however, that was largely because of an injury due to Jimmy Garoppolo, but still, nevertheless, it was a 6-10 record coming off the back of a Super Bowl loss. And I'm not fully expecting a drop-off anywhere near that severe in 2024, but I do think the emotional toll of the loss to Kansas City will hit them a little bit. I mean, after coming so close so many times in the last 5 years and having the game in their grasp in the Super Bowl earlier this year, how do you keep motivating yourself to just go do it again and maybe have the same result of losing over and over and over? But I mean, regardless of the Super Bowl hangover, their talent alone makes them a serious contender in the division.
Third down, blitz is coming. Purdy has it blocked. Floating one downfield for Kittle. He's got it! Touchdown, San Francisco!
However, as we all know, I mean, I don't think he's going to get traded now, as we're now starting to see hopefully everything kind of come down. He's going to stay with the Niners, but the potentially imminent departure of Brandon Ayuk would change things considerably if somehow he was traded in the coming weeks. And like, I mean, while Deebo Samuel is a very unique offensive weapon and Jawan Jennings is a third down machine, Ayuk is definitely their number one guy.
Lance given time, steps into a wide open Ayuk. Brandon Ayuk inside the 20.
I mean, it's easy to see he is the downfield separator who Purdy goes to in his moments of need, and the pair were almost automatic on out routes last year, showing an almost unstoppable chemistry week in and week out.
The motion man, Purdy scans. There's Ayuk in the middle to the end zone, touchdown.
If he does get traded again, that would be huge and would severely hamper the chances of their deep playoff run, in my opinion. In theory, if he does get traded, Ricky Pearsall has been drafted to offer a similar skill set, but he is a rookie and his preseason has been slightly derailed by injury. As we all know, Christian McCaffrey, of course, remains one of the most dangerous weapons in the entire NFL, but a preseason calf injury is also not ideal entering the season. As we flip to the defensive side of the ball, Eric Armstead is out after being a stalwart in the middle of the defensive line for years, with Javon Kinlaw also heading out the door. Kinlaw never really fully established himself there, but was a rotational piece that needed to be replaced nevertheless. Malik Collins is the guy slotting in alongside Javon Hargrave in the middle of the line, with Leonard Floyd bringing his talents over from Buffalo to line up across from Nick Bosa on the edge. Dre Greenlaw and their strong safety are both key players, but are both coming off of serious injuries. Greenlaw did suffer his back in the Super Bowl when actually trying to run onto the field, so there may be a little bit of time before we do see him fully get back to the field. And now their signings, there really weren't many big name signings for San Francisco, who already have a long list of expensive names on the roster, which as a result, they will turn out a pretty similar unit in 2024, which isn't exactly a bad thing given they came so close to the Super Bowl. For me, their ceiling is an 11-6 record, which is one worse than they would have posted last year, and honestly, that would come further down if Ayuk is going to get traded somehow. Their floor, I would say, is about 9-8, which doesn't give them a big range of possible outcomes, but I think that makes sense given the talent on this roster, and coming in with that Super Bowl hangover lingering, I think it is still going to take a toll on this team. Now, this next one might surprise you, but I'm going to go with Arizona up next. They are coming off of an awful 2023 campaign in which their defense was potentially the worst in the NFL, with 26.8 points conceded per game, which placed them 31st in the NFL, not helped by their dead last run defense, which gave up 143.2 yards per game. But like, I mean, let's be honest, it's not going to be easy to win games when you simply are just unable to stop the run, so they definitely did have to get that part of their game figured out. And while we can't expect a complete turnaround from this defensive unit, we hopefully can see just some slight improvements this year with the additions that they have made, as well as honestly with how good they were looking at the end of the season. Hopefully that kind of did carry over into the season this year.
The new pieces added, I think, elevated the mindset of what needs to get done with that group for the defense and the team to have success.
Not to mention also that their offense has been looking very, very well in training camp, and Marvin Harrison Jr., who we're going to talk about in a second, has been absolutely routing up Colts defenders. And in training camp, Marvin Harrison has been the big ticket item that has arrived via the draft, and the primary reason to be excited. But there is a lot more to this new look offense than just him. Trey McBride broke out as an elite game-breaking tight end in 2023, completing a formidable trio of him, Harrison Jr., and quarterback Kyler Murray. Complementing McBride and Harrison Jr. is an exciting duo made up of sophomore wideout Michael Wilson, who brings plenty of potential, and the dependable slot receiver Greg Dortch, who has a knack for popping up with big plays. As a rookie, Wilson tallied 565 yards and 3 touchdowns, setting the stage for a potential breakout season in better conditions in 2024.
Good got him again in the end zone. Got him. Wilson, the diving catch and a touchdown.
With a full year of experience under his belt, Kyler Murray back at quarterback, and Marvin Harrison Jr. absorbing plenty of attention, Wilson should enjoy himself this year. Coming into this year, this offense honestly has a lot of potential to really just surprise a lot of people. It's honestly super crazy that not many people bring this up, but the fact is that when Kyler Murray was last healthy, he led the Cardinals to a top 10 finish in total yardage for the offense. Not many people bring that statistic up about the Cardinals. As we all know, Murray is a dynamic dual threat quarterback who now finds himself piloting a young and talented offense. In the backfield, he's flanked by 2 powerful running backs, James Conner and Trey Brenson, who can wear down defenses with their physicality. The team's decision to then draft a blocking tight end in the 3rd round clearly signals an intention to establish a relentless and physical ground game. And if they succeed, that'll only help this entire offense and make them a tricky unit to handle. But overall, after not posting horrendous 4-win seasons, it's still 4-win seasons, so we can't really get fully carried away here. The offensive line still needs to improve significantly for the offensive master plan to work, and there are plenty of deficiencies on the defensive side of the ball. One of the few bright spots for the team was unfortunately taken away before week 1 even arrived, with BJ Ojulari suffering a season-ending injury at the beginning of August. This dude was set up for a breakout year after a strong rookie season, but now we will never get to see that. To help bolster this unit though, the Cardinals have brought in Justin Jones from Chicago and Nichols from Las Vegas to solidify the interior defensive line, with Mac Wilson coming in at linebacker and Sean Murphy-Bunting adding much needed skill and experience at cornerback. Injuries have been a little bit of a problem for Murphy-Bunting, but a healthy season from him would offer a significant upgrade. Even with new additions in place, this defense is still just really lacking in talent. In recognizing the issue, Cardinals front office addressed the D-line and secondary room early in the draft, bringing in Darius Robinson and Max Melton. They also then quadrupled down on defensive backs by taking 3 more over the remainder of the draft. So overall, this is just a really inexperienced and unproven group, but at least there is a potential for breakouts there and some useful veteran talent to lead the way. Despite these concerns on defense, the Cardinals come in at 3rd in my predictions because of just how optimistic I am about Kyler Murray and this offense. I honestly think that this offense can really make up for the defensive deficiencies and a tough schedule, and if the young defense can learn in the first half of the season, I could even see this team pushing for a ceiling of 10 wins. If I'm going to be honest and just kind of take a shot in the dark right here, they are a great dark horse to win the division if everything goes their way and the 2 teams above them hit their floors. Who knows, maybe a playoff run as well from the Cardinals. In the worst case scenario in which the defense continues to struggle and the tough schedule does get the better of them, I will give the Cardinals a floor of 7 wins and 10 losses. Overall though, there are real reasons for optimism here, and honestly every single Cardinals fan I've talked to have been super excited, aka my brother pretty much. And even in the worst case scenario, I think the Cardinals are 3 wins better than last year. Now in last place for me though in the NFC West is going to be the Seattle Seahawks. Not because I think Seattle is going to just stink, but simply because the Arizona Cardinals are just so underrated. Also, this is the one team in the division that is seeing a significant coaching change, with Mike Macdonald coming in as a head coach and Ryan Grubb taking over from Shane Waldron as offensive coordinator.
Let's start in Seattle, where the Seahawks named former Ravens defensive coordinator Mike Macdonald as their new head coach.
Ryan Grubb is going to be the new coordinator for the Seattle Seahawks. And with it, I see a good, I see a bad, and then obviously an ugly.
Both of these guys are arriving in Seattle off the back of very successful seasons in coordinator positions, with Macdonald in Baltimore and Grubb masterminding the Washington Huskies offense. But it is important to remember that it can take time for new systems to be implemented and players to be brought up to speed. There also has been some significant turnover on the roster, with Keandre Diggs and Jamal Adams headlining the list of departures. Leonard Williams was the big offseason signing after joining midway through the 2023 season, but he did little to prevent what was just a glaring issue for the team now, now, and it's been their run defense. In 2023, Seattle allowed the 31st most yards on the ground and the 30th most rushing touchdowns conceded. Hopefully new defensive tackle Hankins and the incoming cohort of new linebackers can help on this front, but the most significant move to solidify this weakness came in the draft in the form of Byron Murphy.
The Seattle Seahawks select Byron Murphy, defensive tackle, Texas.
Murphy's a powerful defensive tackle who can really threaten the quarterback, but more importantly is stout against the run. The Seahawks using their first rounder to strengthen the heart of the D-line was good to see though. Of course, the standout player on the defensive side of the ball in Seattle is sophomore cornerback Devin Witherspoon, who showed flashes of an elite player in 2023 and looks set to become a top defensive back for this team in 2024 alongside Tariq Woolen. Despite the excitement surrounding Witherspoon though, it is the offense that stands out as the dominant side of the ball for the Seahawks. Ryan Gribb's arrival in Seattle is great news for the likes of DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, JSN, and of course Geno Smith though. While in Washington, Grubb helped Michael Penix Jr. produce a dominant passing offense that was second in the nation only behind Oregon. The trio of receivers that they had while on the field together in Rome Odunze, Jalen Polk, and Jalen McMillan all thrived, with each player posting a 1,000-yard season in 2022 or 2023. And honestly, that's just excellent news for Seattle fans who really want to see their exciting trio of receivers get unleashed this season. With Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet then offering a lethal 1-2 combo out of the backfield, this offense is also looking incredibly potent entering the 2024 campaign. Like the Cardinals, Seattle has some serious concerns along the offensive line though. There is talent at the tackle position in Charlie Cross and Abraham Lucas. However, Lucas is coming off of a season-ending injury in 2023, and the inside of the line was a mess. Hopefully, Seattle's third-round draft pick Christian Haynes can shore things up for a bit for them at guard so that we can properly enjoy what is otherwise a loaded offense. Overall though, I really do see just the similarities between the Cardinals and the Seahawks. Honestly though, I kind of see the Seahawks going down a similar path that of the Cardinals, and who knows, maybe even the Seahawks could steal the division. It's really anybody's division, I think. And yes, while Seattle does have more established talent in their defense, I think the turnover of coaching staff and the time it will take to adjust to the new system brings them down to just the level that I have them at. With that being said, I am going to give them the same predicted ceiling and floor outcome, but give Arizona the tiebreaker because I really think Kyler is going to be special this year. So for Seattle in last place, I have their ceiling at about 10-7 and their floor at 7-10. But I want to know what you guys think. Honestly, I really do think that this division is just super underrated right now. And like I said, I really think it's anybody's for the taking between the Cardinals, Rams, Niners, and Seahawks. I think any of these guys would just be a feared team. They're going to get hot right at the right time. And all of the quarterbacks in this division are just, they're very underrated, especially Matthew Stafford. He does things that Mahomes does just as well. And even some quarterbacks are starting to notice that too and kind of recognizing how good he is. And honestly, I don't think Stafford's going to have much longer in the league. He's just getting beat up. So we'll see what happens. But as always, if you guys did enjoy the video, make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe. If you guys have not joined my Discord. And as always, I will catch you guys in the next one.